wondered on what Seren could be here to tell them. A social visit from her was unheard of. Until very recently, Seren had refused to go out at all in the evenings, and it was strange to see her looking so normal outside of the work clothes they usually saw her in. Well, almost normal. Margery felt bad for thinking it, but there was just no denying that Seren was not known for looking after herself. It was even worse now that Seren lived alone. Today, her unwashed hair was pulled back tightly in a scrunchie, and what looked to be several days' worth of foundation had created a tide mark across her jawline. Though she was not overweight, the selection of dirty, oversized anoraks and saggy old leggings she exclusively wore outside of work did nothing for her. Poor Seren, Margery thought. She shook her head. Poor Seren. She brought in the pot of tea on the wheeled trolley and felt embarrassed by Clementine's blatantly disgusted look at Seren's appearance. "So, what was it you wanted to talk to us about, dear?" Margery said, trying to snap Clementine out of staring as she helped herself to a cup of tea and sat down on the arm of the armchair. "Help yourself to a toffee penny, or can I get you something a little more substantial?" "Thanks, but no thank you," Seren said, opening her third sweet. "You've put out a fine array of crudités already, and I shan't keep you long." Margery frowned confusedly at the small finger bowl of twiglets and the saucer of party rings she had put out on the coffee table next to the Quality Street. There was not a vegetable in sight. "Unfortunately, this is not a social visit. I've come here on very dire business indeed." "Well, spit it out, woman. We haven't got all night," Clementine said, a little too impatiently for Margery's liking. Seren leaned forward conspiratorially. "There's been a death." Margery dropped her teacup in shock. "Good God!" "Margery, please don't swear," Clementine said, turning to Seren, who was nodding her head vigorously, as though she was a person of great importance. As though no one had ever caught her eating profiteroles in the school kitchen's walk-in freezer. "What do you mean, Seren? Who's died?" "It was a terrible accident. Well, that's what they're saying down at the leisure centre," Seren said, still nodding. "I wouldn't have believed it myself, but accidents do happen. You know, just last week I broke my back tooth eating a Cadbury mini egg." Margery and Clementine exchanged a look. "Anyway, she was one of our own. Our kitchen manager, Mrs. Hughes." "Mrs. Hughes?" Margery said, struggling to find her voice. "You can't mean Caroline Hughes?" "Unfortunately, I do, and I have it straight from the mouth of the man who found her. Gary Matthews. Do you know him? Works on security. Found her dead Friday night." She picked the teacup off the floor and handed it back to Margery. "Do you know the worst bit about it?" Seren paused dramatically. Margery and Clementine shook their heads enraptured. "She didn't even get to deliver her last batch of Avon." Margery gasped and dropped the teacup again. "I don't know how many people know already. You're first on my rounds, and I'm not too sure on the fine details because I don't like to pry. I'm not a busybody, you know that." Seren paused to reach for another toffee penny from the bowl. "I just thought you should know before work tomorrow." It was a lot to take in, Margery thought. Especially in the whirlwind of a way Seren had rushed out the news. "Gosh, Seren," she finally said. "A death like that, and it's hardly been a year since, well—" She stopped, not wanting to upset the woman sitting across from her. "I know," said Seren. Well, I'd still rather not talk about it if it's all the same to you." Clementine and Margery nodded in sympathy. Seren hadn't really had an easy time of it recently. Margery made a mental note to drop a Tupperware of homemade lamb caul or shepherd's pie off at her house. "Well, I'd better be off. Thank you for your hospitality." Seren dragged herself up and out of the chair in a flurry of falling toffee penny wrappers, grasping her dirty coat that Margery was